Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. The sun is directly in my eye. It's bad. I feel like I need to like scooch over, but then I'm gonna have like a plant right here, so you're gonna see like the reflection of a plant. So what is better, me being blinded or me shaded by a plant? I feel like I'm gonna look, look. I feel like that's gonna look really funny. Let me try it. How goofy does that? That looks pretty goofy. I'm just gonna be stick to being blinded by the sun. It's actually not that bad. It's actually going down pretty fast because it is like 3:30, 4 o'clock. I normally never film this late in the day, but I just finished this duology and I needed to talk about it. I feel like it's been such a long time since I started reading this duology. I read The Stolen Heir like the day it came out last year. So it has been such a long time between me reading this book and me reading this book. And I am happy to say it was pretty easy to pick back up where I was. I was not expecting to be able to go into this like without knowing what was going on and being like, oh, this is what was happening. Oh, this is what was happening. So I was impressed by that. I was impressed by that because of like how easy it was to get back into the story. But I've got some thoughts. So I do believe I gave The Stolen Heir, I don't remember what I gave this. I think I gave either a 3.5 or a 4. I'm gonna say it was probably a 4-star. Holly Black is one of my favorite authors. I love how she writes. And even her like not so great books, I still generally enjoy. But anyway, this is going to have spoilers in it, kind of. We're gonna talk about the series as a whole first. I'm gonna mark it down in timestamps. So first we're gonna talk about the series as a whole, what I thought about the whole series, kind of what I'm thinking is going to be the next series, because I definitely think there's going to be a next series. And then we'll kind of get into me talking about a little bit more specifics for The Prisoner's Throne. But I will definitely mark stuff down and put like a spoiler thing up for if you haven't read The Stolen Heir yet. But first of all, let's talk about completely spoiler free. This is a 4-star duology. I feel like that's the best way to describe this. This is 4 stars and this is also 4 stars. It's also very uniquely told. I thought it was very interesting the way that the duology was told. So this is following the After the Cruel Prince series. This is taking place, what they said, like 8-9 years later. We are following Jude's brother Oak, kind of dealing with doing his own thing, because if you read the original series, he was a very closeted child. Pretty much everyone was trying to take care of him and make sure that he was safe. And so he's kind of trying to do his own thing in this series. And it's really interesting because almost both of these, especially the beginnings, read like first books. Weird, right? So this first book, The Stolen Heir, is actually following Ren's perspective and not really Oak. Like Oak is kind of like a background character and you're introduced to this brand new character who is like the heir to the Court of Teeth, one of like the more dastardly courts in the Elfheim area, whatever. So I thought that was really interesting and I really liked Ren's perspective. What got me in this is I didn't buy the romance and I really just didn't care about Oak as a character, which was then supremely surprising when I started this book and it opened up a couple months before the end of this one, and this entire book is Oak's perspective. I still don't know how I feel about it. Still, like I loved Ren, so to delegate Ren as like the side character in this one, wild. Like we've done something like this with other books, like literally Belladonna and Foxglove were in Signa's point of view, and then the last book in the series, Wisteria, was in a different character's point of view the whole book. So but I wasn't expecting that for the duology. I do think someone hinted at it after I'd read after The Prisoner's Throne came out and I was talking about reading it, I think in a video, I think someone said, hey, it kind of takes a drastic turn and it's through this perspective, but I was expecting some of Ren. Like, I thought it was gonna be like alternating chapters, like a lot of authors will start their series off following one character, and then subsequent books will have other points of view that are added. Like Throne of Glass consistently added more and more points of view as the books went on. So it's kind of what I thought was gonna happen in this. No. No. Prisoner's Throne is only Oak's point of view. And it's, I think it somewhat works, and in other ways, especially the ending of the book, it massively didn't work. We'll get into that in the spoiler section, but again, I wanted to keep this non-spoiler at first. So I think I'm struggling to say exactly how I feel about these, because I think The Stolen Heir, I don't like the plot as much, but I liked Ren as a main character better. And then in The Prisoner's Throne, I liked the plot a lot better because we had a lot more court intrigue. This one is a lot of traveling around and getting to know the characters. And this one, you're like in the middle of the characters, you know, everything going on, and it does more political intrigue and a lot less travel. I'm never a person who loves travel in my books a lot. So I liked the plot of this one better, but I did not care to be in Oak's perspective that much. Like, I really needed Ren to have some chapters, to be honest. So that's kind of why this one was brought down to a 4-star, because I wanted more Ren in this story. And this was brought down to a 4-star because I was kind of a little bored throughout this one until the end. The end was really good. And that's another thing. The end of The Stolen Heir, great cliffhanger, super awesome. End of The Prisoner's Throne, anticlimactic because of how well you know Ren. I feel like this book relied on you, like, being in Oak's head so much you almost forget knowing Ren from the first book, and that's supposed to add some, like, tension, but because you know her so well from The Stolen Heir, it just, the tension never was really there at the end of the book. So again, overall, 4-star. Let's talk about, no spoilers still, no spoilers still, but there's definitely going to be another series. There's definitely would stake my YouTube channel on, oh no, there's gonna be another series, and it is pretty much like straight up announced at the end of this one. 2 of our characters are like, hey, we're going off to do this, and you're like, oh, okay, that's the next book. Like, it's like this very open, like, we are going to do this because there's stuff going on, and this whole book hinted at this, like, conflict, so it kind of set up you actually knowing the beginnings of the conflict for the new series. So I am curious how they're going to do it. If they're going to do new characters again, or if they're going to use the 2 original characters who are going to deal with the matter. That's what I am curious about. We're going to talk about that more in spoilers if you have read these and want to know, because it is interesting, because we could be getting, I don't think we're going to do it. I think we're going to go with new characters, but I don't want to. Although, somewhat. Part of me is like, yes, I want new characters, and part of me is like, I really want my old characters back, because that's what I was most excited about for these books. So anyway, that's kind of a little sneak peek, because again, it would give, I feel like, a decent amount away if I talked about that. Kind of, not really. It wouldn't really give that much away, but still, just in case you don't want to know anything, I did wanted to keep the whole beginning spoiler free. So we're moving into spoilers now. We're moving into spoilers, and the first thing we're going to talk about is that, like, what the next books are going to be, because if you still want to listen, this isn't super spoilers, this is just potential thoughts. So at the end of the book, Oak and Ren's story definitely kind of comes to an end. I don't think they'll really be, I think they'll be brought in to books to be like part of alliances and stuff like that, but I definitely think their story is over. There's not going to be like too much more with their stuff. What was interesting is we opened up potentially having our main characters be Jude and Carden again. I don't think that's what's going to happen. The whole Prisoner's Throne, we're dealing with kind of skirmishes with the Undersea, but it's not really like your focus of the book. Like, it's not really not that important to you as characters. But it is brought up enough that you're like, okay, where is it going? Like, why are we learning about this? This seems like something that is very extensive to not be like a major part of these books. Like, it was not something that was brought to the forefront. It was like, this is just kind of happening in the background, but it's kind of a huge conflict to just be in the background. So I shouldn't have been surprised when the book ends with Jude and Cardan saying that they are going to visit the Undersea and visit Queen Nicasia to watch a tournament for her hand in marriage. I feel like what I found lackluster in these books, I'm going to be obsessed with in the next books, because I just did not care for Oak as a main character, and I think Queen Nicasia could be a really interesting main character. So my assumption, I don't know, okay, so I feel like there's one of two ways that this could go. One of three ways. You could have Jude as the main character. I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think that there's enough of that, like, of them that's going to be in the next book. Probably book one, I'm going to say it's probably going to be a duology. Book one is going to be Queen Nicasia, and you learning everything from her perspective and her meeting Jude and Cardan and starting the tournament and stuff like that. There's going to be a lot of political intrigue. And then book two might be the suitor, potentially. I don't know. I kind of hope both books are just the same character, because I do tend to like that better. I didn't love the change of perspective in this so totally. I hope we at least add, like, we don't get rid of the first narrator completely. Unless I don't like it, then we can do whatever. So I'm thinking that's what it's going to be. I'm thinking there's going to be another duology, and it's going to be following Queen Nicasia and her stuff. Like, it straight up is like, we're going on an adventure kind of thing at the end. Like, it was so straightforward telling you. So that's kind of the predictions. I'm excited to see what Holly Black says coming up, because as of right now, I haven't seen anything. I don't know. I haven't gone and checked. I wanted to do this without, like, any type of knowing anything. So I'll go and check and see later. So moving past that and going to actual spoilers, we can kind of talk about it's what I didn't like. And it kind of comes down to the ending. Like I said, kind of in the spoiler-free section, is you get to know Ren so well in the first book. You're ready to get into the second book and kind of get Ren's reactions to what's going on and her pacing and dealing with him in the dungeon. And you don't get any of that, which I find very disappointing. Very disappointing. I really wanted to see Ren, what Ren was going to do. I didn't really care what Oak was going to do. I wanted to see how Ren was going to handle the situation. And instead the book opens up with, like I said, the 6 months before this happened, and how Oak found out these conspiracies and how Maddox was captured and his whole plan for getting him out. And it kind of tells you what led Oak to where he was, where you met him at the beginning of the Stolen Heir. And then, honestly, I did like the story. I liked Ren more as a character, and I did find myself throughout The Prisoner's Throne, anytime Jude or Cardan were mentioned on the page, I was like, like, that's what I really wanted. Let's be honest. That's what I really wanted from these books, was to get more of a glimpse of Jude and Cardan, and I think that's just because the original trilogy, even though how the Prince of Elfhame became something, its old story, something like that, was a great addition and helped a lot. Queen of Nothing was such a bad ending to a trilogy that my brain desperately is searching for, like, closure with their relationship, and to, like, get glimpses of their relationship that we just were not given in Queen of Nothing. Queen of Nothing was just so anticlimactic for Jude and Cardan fans. So again, even though that short story collection did a really good job of kind of giving you some of that, I feel like my brain is wired to search for them and stuff because of how disappointing that last book was. So I did find myself, because Jude and Cardan were in The Prisoner's Throne actually quite a bit. I very much enjoyed that. And that's what I was hanging on to, like, Cardan's reactions towards Jude and Jude dealing with Cardan. And I just wanted more of that. I wanted more of that. So I am excited that they're the ones that are going to Queen Nicasia's thing, because I was worried it was going to be Oak and Ren going, and you would get more of Oak and Ren and Nicasia. No, it's Jude and Cardan going. So I am excited about that. And that kind of leads up to the ending. I feel like the book was really well done, but the ending relied on you thinking Ren would betray Oak. And knowing Ren from the first book, you just don't buy it. Like, you don't believe it. And that makes the end of the book so anticlimactic because it relied on it so heavily because of all of the conspiracies and all the stuff going on with the creepy hag witch and Bogdana, whatever, however you say her name. It relied on like so much on you thinking Ren was working with her that it just felt very lackluster. The ending was very quick moving to the point of like breakneck pace, and again, you just didn't really buy any of it. So I did not love the ending of this duology, and that again is having me like, Holly Black, what are you doing with the ends of these series? Like, I'm a huge fan of yours, but what are you doing? Like, the same thing happened in The Cruel Prince, and I just read her book, Coldest Girl in Cold Town, and I hated how that book ended. Do I like Holly Black as much as I think I do? Like, now I'm sitting here like, no, I do. I need her to work on her endings a little bit. It's like she doesn't know how to end her books. And again, I think most of that comes from the switching of perspectives in this. So anyway, that's all I really wanted to talk about in this because it was just the ending that really threw me off. There's not that many spoilers going on in this video because there's not that many spoilers normally to talk about. I feel like in fantasy books, like there's normally like one big thing you just don't want to ruin, and that's it. And even in this one, there just really wasn't that big of a thing. Like, the big spoiler was they weren't working against each other. Her sister had been kidnapped and she was being blackmailed. That's like the big spoiler, which you can kind of guess. It was more like vibes that were spoilers, I feel like. So anyway, just kind of wanted to quickly chat about this series because it's been a while since I read it. And since I'm a big Holly Black fan and a lot of people I know on this channel are big Holly Black fans, I thought you guys might be interested in watching this. So yeah, that's everything. Another series down. That's kind of what I'm doing right now, is trying to get through some series. And this was like the easiest one to get through because it was just a duology and it's finished. Although again, we're definitely getting more books. We're getting more books. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Very chill video today. I wanted to kind of sit outside for a little bit, even though it's warmer than I want. I'm wearing this heavy jacket to pretend it's cold because it got really cold and it was so cozy, and then it got warm again and I was like, this sucks. This sucks. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. I do plan to do more book reviews. They don't do the best on my channel, but I really enjoyed doing just plain book reviews of things and talking about my thoughts as I'm thoughting them. So it's kind of just been fun sitting here and doing a quick little book review. Yeah, make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. And make sure you leave a comment down below if you've read the book series or you plan on reading it, what you think about potentially new sequels and stuff like that. And yeah, that is everything I have for you today. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.